And that's more important in college basketball because there's so much turnover. There's so much transferring going on. Kids changing schools. More and more kids are going to the NBA. A lot of them aren't even getting drafted, and they're not allowed to go back to college basketball, which I think is ridiculous. Fewer guys are staying for 4 years. Fewer great players or good players are staying for 4 years. Here's an example of that. CBSSports.com. Gary Parrish does an excellent job. I'm a huge fan of his. His NBA mock draft. He's got that up at CBSSports.com right now. He has one senior going in the first round of the draft. 2 upperclassmen. 1 junior, 1 senior in the top 30 picks. You don't get comfortable or familiar with college players at all. And I think that hurts the brand too. And it's going to be stripped of its premium talent when the NBA allows for kids to go straight from high school to the pros, which will make it even worse. Outside of the North Carolina Duke footprint, and they have massive followings. That's why College Game Day goes to Duke, North Carolina yesterday and not like Villanova, Seton Hall, even though it's a better game. Because they want lowest common denominator. It's smart. They want the biggest. It's not like college football game day where the sport is so big they could go to South Dakota and it would still resonate. You know, Duke, North Carolina is the biggest thing college basketball has in its regular season menu. And I think more and more people are turning away from it. My thesis point is that college basketball is relevant really now for 5 days a year. Selection Sunday through the first 2 rounds of the through the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament. And that's a shame, and it's sad because I love college basketball, but I don't think we have enough time to fix the sport on this show today. I'm sure people will complain about it. I don't know if we'll come up with fixes. 855-212-4227. My name's Andrew Filipponi. The show's called The Pony Express. Let's talk to Ted in Charlotte on CBS Sports Radio. Hi, Ted.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm a Carolina fan here in Charlotte. Been a fan my whole life, but yesterday I just didn't want to watch the game. I mean, the team is down, and both teams, I really don't, besides Trey Jones, and there are a few other 5-star guys they have on the Duke team. It really wasn't compelling to me. I found myself more interested in trying to sneak peeks at the XFL game than the Carolina Duke game. And just like you were saying, it's just because, you know, back in the day, players had to stay in college for, 3 years, 4 years. Mike stayed in college for 3 years. Patrick Ewing, the Allen Iversons, they had ample time to develop themselves. But now, with the one and done and guys going straight to the NBA, it's just every year that goes by, it's just less and less compelling. So.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. I can't, the flip of what you're describing and what I've talked about today would never happen. And that is, imagine Ohio State and Michigan play each other in November, and people are fascinated by a G League basketball game. Sneaking peeks at a G League game. At a minor league basketball game. It would never happen. Because the sport of college football, even with its playoff snafus, is on firm ground. The game matters more, inherently. One college football game, well, they play 12 regular season games. College basketball teams play 30. Last year would have been different because, he was injured until they met in the tournament, the ACC tournament, but last year would have been different because Zion Williamson was at Duke. But those years for college basketball where like one name or one player captivate the sport are few and far between. You can't bank on that. That happens once in a blue moon. Here's James in Virginia on CBS Sports Radio. Hi, James.
Hey, how we doing today?
Hey, man.
Hey, so I was actually at the game yesterday, and I'm driving back to Pennsylvania now.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was electric atmosphere.
It's great in person. I saw Duke play North Carolina last year. It's amazing when you're there. I mean, it is breathtaking. It's a bucket list thing.
That was my first experience. My sister's in grad school there, so I was really lucky. But I want to get to the point a little bit with the XFL. Really the way I look at it is, there's been a lot of build-up to the XFL. Duke UNC does play twice a year. I understand that, college basketball might be a little bit down this year, but ultimately I think we can all agree that football is king, right? So if football is king and you have this build-up of this, albeit a reboot, I understand that. But it was the first day of the XFL, and it did happen to fall on Duke UNC, and I realize that. But, I look at what are the major, rivalries in all sports. And every year, everybody has, whether it's the Red Sox, the Yankees, Duke, North Carolina, pick your sport, Lakers, Celtics back in the day, or whatever it might be now. Those are just games that, if you're flipping through the channels, you're going to watch. But football is king. And I don't know if it would fully be the case if the XFL was, established a couple years ago, or maybe, say, regular football was on, and I know I might be contradicting myself by saying football is king. But let's say there were two NFL teams playing that you didn't have really care for much, but it was just randomly on. That wouldn't be as much of a build-up as the XFL's first opening day, being on a reboot.